My proudest DIY project is definitely the room divider. The idea was to give it like an industrial vibe, but it's made completely out of wood. The original piece that I wanted to have and I intended to have was supposed to have glass, but because it's just right near my bed, I was a little bit afraid to have glass there maybe in case it gets broken. So I added a curtain and now it's much safer and also blocks a little bit of light when I'm sleeping.
This is a project that my dad and I made together. I think I get probably the most compliments on that out of anything in my room.
My favorite element is the bookshelf. I was actually really nervous when I first got this shelf that it would make the space look even smaller, but when I put it up, it was like the best decision I could have made. It divides the space really well. It gives me tons of storage, and it's also just a really good opportunity to put all my favorite decor items out.
So this is my sleeping area. When the stairs were put in here, the movers actually flipped them. So the bottom step is a little bit high, but I found that I actually preferred the way that it fit in the space. So now I'm used to it and I think it works.
I didn't want people to walk into my studio and think, oh, well, there's the bed. So I really wanted to create a separate space. And I'm not obsessed with canopies, but I just need it to be functional in the sense of creating that divide. I don't want to walk in and have people fall into my bed and then onto the couch. It needs to be a sense of flow and direction, visual direction. So I needed to do something quite sheer to just give an illusion of separation of the bed. Like, I don't really want heavy drapes. I already have them now over my door and I have them over the window.
Behind the couch, there's these sliding closets where we keep winter clothes and things that we may not get to all the time. So we place these velvet curtains as a way to add color, texture, and height to the room, while also concealing these closets.
I had these wall partitions that I ordered from Etsy. They're very lightweight. Originally, I had them at the entrance of the studio, but then it felt like I was walking in a hallway. I didn't really like it there, so then I decided to separate the kitchen from the living space because I kind of didn't want to lay in a bed and look at a refrigerator. But in the space where they were, I went to my favorite crystal dealer and bought crystals so that I could grid the space. And so I have crystals as you come in, so it keeps out any negative energy. I mean, especially if you're living in a studio apartment, you have, maintenance guys that come in when you're not home. There's people who enter your space. So I wanted to make sure that there was some healing, gridding going on in here.
I knew exactly what the layout would be pretty much from the first second that I saw the apartment. And it sort of started with that first, what I call the little nook with like my lounger and my low storage unit and my record player and all my vinyl. I sort of immediately saw that area, and then that sort of propelled me into figuring out what the other areas were. They just sort of naturally felt like, okay, across from that would be the bedroom, living room would be in the middle, and then there's a very clear area sort of established as the dining area beside the kitchen. Since I have sort of done that and created these areas, that's something that I've learned is really, really just good for my mental health, and it just helps me keep everything organized and tidy and not feel like I'm just living and eating and sleeping and breathing all in one room. The biggest splurge for me for this apartment was definitely the couch. I knew I wanted a chaise style, and this was the only couch I had seen where the chaise was sort of horizontal as opposed to coming out vertically into the space. I didn't want it to come out vertically into the space because I thought it would really create a barrier between the nook and the bedroom and the living room, and I just wanted it to feel very open and to flow nicely together. So I love that the sofa is just sort of open on this one end.